Fight fans, we are just 1.5 months away from International Fight Week, July 11th, UFC 329. It is a stacked card. It is a really good event. It has all kinds of good fights like Brandon Royval versus Lonnie Kavanaugh, Mario Batista versus Corey Sandhagen, Paddy Pimblett versus Benoit Saint-Denis. It has everything you could possibly want on a really good event. Everything except a title fight. We don't have any title fights on this card. Instead, it is being headlined by a man who everybody loves, Max Holloway, in a rematch against somebody who has not faced in 13 years, the returning Conor McGregor. And I see so many people that are so excited to see the return of Conor McGregor. He is the best-selling fighter in UFC history. So people really like to see this guy fight, but unfortunately, some people are a little nervous about this fight, nervous about whether the fight's actually going to happen because Conor McGregor has a bit of a sketchy history when it comes to his activity in the fight game. And there was the time he pulled out against Michael Chandler. There's just not a lot of faith right now in Conor McGregor. Some people still have the faith. Some people are saying that this fight's going to happen. They're excited to see it. They're talking about it. And I have other people that are just saying this fight's not going to happen. He's going to pull out. That's what he does. This is what Conor McGregor is. His heart's not in the game anymore. So, like I said, so many people are just kind of worried if the fight's going to happen in the first place. So you have people that like to make bets on fights. They don't know if they should even try to make a bet on this fight because it's probably not going to happen. You might have some people that want to host a big party at their house, a big UFC party, invite a bunch of people over to watch this big event with these great fights, and they're not even sure if the main event is going to happen because of Conor McGregor's history. So I decided to go ahead and take the opportunity to look at Conor McGregor's history, starting from when he won the featherweight title on, to really break down all of his periods of inactivity, any pullouts that he's had, and really break things down to get us all a better understanding of whether we think this fight actually might happen or not. And the reason why I'm starting with whenever he won the featherweight championship was because before that, it was pretty run-of-the-mill when it comes to his activity. He fought anywhere from 1 to 3 times a year. It's pretty standard for most fighters in UFC that are actually active. So there's no point really going before that. We're going to start in December of 2015. Conor McGregor versus Jose Aldo. It ends up being the fastest knockout in title history in the UFC. We have a new champion, Conor McGregor. This was December 2015, so you're expecting 2016 to be the year where you get to see Conor McGregor defend his title and really show that he is the best in the world at his weight class. So 2016, how many featherweight championship defenses do you think he had? How many featherweight fights do you think he had in 2016? The answer is 0, because instead of defending his title at featherweight in 2016, he jumps up, not to lightweight, but to welterweight. He goes up 2 full weight classes to fight Nate Diaz twice. He loses the first match. He wins the second match. So you might be thinking, okay, well, he tested the waters at welterweight. Maybe it's time to go back down to featherweight where he belongs and defend his title. Is that what he does? No, he decides he wants to go fight at lightweight and challenge for that title instead. So in November of 2016, you have Eddie Alvarez versus Conor McGregor. Featherweight champion versus lightweight champion. Lightweight title is on the line because it's being fought at the weight of 155 pounds. And Conor McGregor wins. It becomes your first simultaneous 2-division champion in UFC history. So you think, all right, now he has 2 titles. What's he going to do? Is he going to defend the featherweight championship first? Is he going to stick around with the lightweight title and defend that title instead? Well, right after he won the lightweight championship, UFC decides to go ahead and strip him of the featherweight championship because he's gone a full year at this point with not even having talked about booking the title defense. So he gets stripped of that title. So you're like, okay, well, I guess lightweight's going to be the weight class for Conor McGregor. So if this all happens in 2016, maybe 2017 is the year we finally get to see some Conor McGregor title defenses. So now he's the new lightweight champion. What does 2017 have in store in MMA, in the UFC for Conor McGregor? The answer is absolutely nothing. He doesn't fight at all in 2017 in MMA. He takes some time off because, his wife's having a baby, and he decides he wants to test himself in boxing and sets up this big fight against Floyd Mayweather Jr. So he goes and has that fight, and of course he loses because it's Floyd Mayweather. 2017, there are no fights at all from Conor McGregor in MMA. So 2018, maybe we'll start to see some title defenses now, right? I mean, he first became a champion in 2015. Now we're talking 2018. He's still not had a title defense yet. So now we're in 2018. April rolls around, and the UFC is like, you know what? You spent all 2017 not fighting. You're not talking to anyone about setting up a title defense at lightweight either. We're going to go ahead and take that title from you as well. So now he's been stripped of both championships. I want you to think about that, how crazy of a stat that is. That the first ever simultaneous two-division champion, I have to specify simultaneous because we've had other two-division champions in the past. I don't know all of them off the top of my head. I know Randy Couture, if he's not the first, he was one of the first. But it wasn't simultaneous. You know, he'd win it at light heavyweight, lose it, go to heavyweight, win it, lose it. And he went back and forth a little bit. This is the first time we saw someone who was a champion in both weight classes at the same time. And he has 0 title defenses in both weight classes. And it wasn't that he lost the title. It wasn't that he put it on the line and lost it. He just decided not to be active with it, not even try to get anything booked. He didn't answer the call to any of the challengers that were out there. He didn't have anything officially booked, so he didn't pull out of any matches, but he just wasn't active and eventually got stripped of both championships. So that is really the start of people losing faith in Conor McGregor. I was there seeing all this as it happened. And a lot of people were like, okay, he's really good. He rose to the top really fast. But once he tasted that highest level of success, it seems like it got to his head. And he kind of lost that desire to continue being a true fighter, you know, and proving that he's the best. It's like he won the title and then he just kind of stopped caring. And so, like I said, 0 title defenses, got both titles stripped. 2019 rolls around and he announces he's retired from MMA. But this retirement didn't last very long because in January of 2020, he comes out of retirement and faces Donald Cerrone. He wins that match, then goes a full year before he has another match, again, just being inactive. Then he faces Dustin Poirier in January of 2021. He loses that match. 6 months later, faces Dustin Poirier again and loses once again, this time by breaking his leg in a nasty injury, a really, really bad injury that just took him out of action, just completely snaps his leg, and he hasn't fought since. That's the last time that we've seen him in action in the octagon. It's the last time we've seen him in action in combat sports, period. Anytime we've seen him involved with anything, it's more like an administrative type role like he was doing for BKFC for a little while, stuff like that. But he hasn't fought since. So what's he been doing during those 5 years of inactivity, right? Because it's been 5 years, because that was July of 2021. What's he been doing during these last 5 years that he's not been fighting? So 2021, 2022 is basically just him recovering, right? 2023, he finally is back in the UFC, sort of. He is a head coach in The Ultimate Fighter, season 31, opposite Michael Chandler. Now, traditionally, whenever you have season of The Ultimate Fighter, the head coaches will face off at the end of the season. This hasn't always happened. There's been a few times here or there where, for whatever reason, they couldn't line up that fight. But most of the time, they set up a fight between these two. So that fight actually was booked in June of 2024. So Michael Chandler was just so excited for this fight. He was dying to have this fight, probably because it's going to be a massive payday, because it always is if you're facing Conor McGregor, because he just pulls insane numbers. June 2024 rolls around, and 2 weeks before the fight is scheduled to happen, Conor McGregor pulls out the fight because he says he broke his toe. He posted a picture of a damaged looking toe. It caused a lot of controversy. Some people were saying that they fought with worse and he shouldn't have pulled out. Some people think it wasn't even his toe. There's a lot of conspiracy theories that came out about it and all that, and yada, yada, yada. The point is, he pulled out of the fight. So a lot of people saw this and like, here again, we're Conor McGregor not fighting, just what we're getting used to at this point. But you notice something funny about this? That's actually the first time he's pulled out of a fight. Yes, I've talked about all these other times where he was inactive, but that was inactive. He didn't have any fights scheduled. He didn't have any fights booked. He wasn't talking to anybody and lining up his next fight. That's the first time that a fight was booked and scheduled and on a card and everything, and he pulled out. It's the first time it's happened, but it did happen 2 weeks before the fight was supposed to happen. So a lot of people, especially Michael Chandler, was really upset about that. And that is really probably the nail in the coffin with all of the periods of inactivity happening with him throughout the years and him not defending his championships, both of them, and he had to get stripped from both of them, and then pulling out at the end of The Ultimate Fighter. That was the one where I think fans really soured on him when it comes to the faith on if he's actually going to ever fight again. I have seen people for a very long time saying he'll never fight again, period. They have no faith that he will ever step in an octagon again forever. Now we are a month and a half away, and he is scheduled to be in the main event at International Fight Week. So it really is a bad look whenever you are scheduled to be in an event and you pull out 2 weeks prior to the event, a pretty big one. And now you're in another big event where you're the main event on a card that doesn't even have a title fight. You are the main event. You are so good that they're putting you up there with title fights, even though you don't have one. That's the kind of faith that the UFC is putting in you. But the fans don't have that faith anymore because of everything that's happened. So after looking at all of that, after reflecting on the fact that he pulled out just 2 weeks before his fight, the last time he was booked to have a fight, but also acknowledging that's the only time he's pulled out of a scheduled fight and all the other times were just inactive, what do you think? Do you think this fight's going to happen? Do you think he's going to pull out again? Do you think he's never going to fight again? Do you think we're going to see him just come back for a quick cash grab? Maybe the fight happens, he has his fight, never fights again. Maybe he decides to go ahead and have that fight with Michael Chandler after all, because Michael Chandler's been calling him out just relentlessly ever since that fight got canceled. Just all over the place. He was on WWE getting a microphone and calling him out. Michael Chandler would go out and lose a match, and then even though he lost the match, he would grab the microphone and call out Conor McGregor. He definitely wants that fight. So what do you think? Do you think this fight's going to happen? Do you think he's going to continue fighting if he does fight? Do you think he's going to win this fight? It's a lot of questions that are going to get answered. So anyway, thanks for tuning in. Give me your thoughts. Go ahead and comment. Say anything you want to say. It's a safe space. We could discuss this. We could debate it. I'm kind of on the fence about it. I think in the end, this fight will happen because, like I said, he's only pulled out once before, like officially pulled out. It's only happened once before. And I think this time he's more motivated because he didn't really seem all that motivated before. I think he has the motivation. I think he has a desire. I think he really is back. I don't know how long he's going to be back. Maybe he decides to squeeze another fight or two. Maybe this is his last one. I don't know. But anyway, we will see. Month and a half, UFC 329. International Fight Week. I will be covering that. I will be talking about it. So make sure you tune in then, and I'll break down all the action. So I am Vince with Vince by Submission. I'll see you all on the next one.